Bears Huddle podcast with me, your host, Owen James. The channel that brings you all your UK views on our Chicago Bears, guys. Right, look, let's talk coaching staff. Let's talk the fact there is no salary cap on the coaching staff. Look, one of the good things, I think, for most teams is that there is no salary cap for any coaching staff. That as a front office, as a head coach, you can assemble the coaching staff you want. And if you really want the best, if you really want to get the best, if you really want to get your team out there and have it with the best possible opportunity to win, then I'll tell you something. What you do is you assemble the top coaching staff. That's what you do. You go out and you spend money, you spend dollar, you get out the Benjamins, you put out those Benjamins, and you spend that money on that coaching staff. Now, look, if we look at the off-season that is fully in swing here at this moment in time, you know, the Bears have really spent well on their coaching staff. Yes, the big move, of course, was bringing in offensive genius, hopefully, Ben Johnson from Detroit. That was the top appointment, obviously, of Ryan Poles. But Ben Johnson, obviously, has then recruited a staff that is full of talent. Full of absolute talent. I mean, if you look at the names on this Bears coaching staff, it really is kind of a demonstration that the Bears have not held back in terms of recruiting and paying money for top coaches, for the best coaches. So, you know, Antoine Randall, I mean, absolutely fantastic wide receiver coach. You know, he proved that during his time in Detroit. You know, he was a very good player as well. Won a Super Bowl, knows how to get the job done, and is, you know, I think widely regarded as one of the best, best wide receiver coaches in the game. So again, you know, money has been invested there in Antoine Randall. Declan Doyle, up and coming offensive coordinator, probably wouldn't have been as expensive as perhaps going to get a bigger name there. Certainly not. JT Barrett, Press Taylor, again, not massive names in this in the scheme of things. However, you know, strategically placing in key places experienced top coaches helps. Now, one of those top coaches, probably the star of rookie minicamp from the coaching staff is Eric Bieniemy, who is currently the running backs coach, but no doubt will have an influence on the Bears offense, along, of course, with Ben Johnson, Press Taylor, and Declan Doyle, and JT Barrett as well. Eric Bieniemy is amazing. I gotta say, from watching the highlights and watching the bits and pieces online from Bears rookie minicamp, he was unbelievable. Yeah, I know the Bears as an organisation don't particularly like the swearing from the coaches on the field. You know, that's kind of frowned upon, but he was spot on. Get your fucking eyes up, look up, don't touch the fucking cone, don't touch the fucking cone. I mean, just absolutely in your face, beast mode, full on from Eric Bieniemy. This guy is a motivator. This guy is a monster of a coach. And, you know, if you look at him in terms of his experience, and you go back over this guy's experience. So obviously, you know, he's been the assistant head coach and OC at UCLA. Before that, he was the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. But obviously before that, he worked with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City as the OC between 2018 and 2022. Running backs coach for the Chiefs between 2013 2017 as well. Prior to that, obviously, he was with Colorado. He's also been a running backs coach with the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC North. So he knows NFC North ball as well, you know. So this is a guy who is going to bring, I think, an invaluable insight and an invaluable offensive mind in it to add into the ones we've already got, molding this offense. Now, not only that, but, you know, the bringing in of Dan Rauscher as the offensive line coach, you know, one of the best offensive line coaches in the business. Came from Tulane via the New Orleans Saints. He was the run game coordinator and tight ends coach at the New Orleans Saints. So obviously has previously worked with Dennis Allen, offensive line coach for the Saints between 2016 and 2020, tight ends coach. He's also worked obviously with Sean Payton. So, you know, this guy's worked with some top coaches in his time, and, you know, he's a guy who I think is going to make a major difference. You know, he's been an offensive line coach all over Michigan State, Cincinnati, Illinois, all over the place. Absolute, you know, top coach. Again, money spent well on a top offensive line coach. Now, obviously, the other key kind of spend there was on the defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. Now, Dennis Allen, I think, is very, very valuable on this staff. Yes, Dennis Allen is a phenomenal defensive coordinator, as he proved during his time with New Orleans, with the work he did with the likes, obviously, of Cam Jordan and Tyrann Mathieu, for example, to name but two. But, he is a top guy, and not only has he got that excellent reputation as a top defensive coordinator, but also the fact that he's also been a head coach. Yes, not a particularly successful head coach, granted. His offensive regular season offensive head coach record is 26-53, which is 3.29, which is not very successful at all. He was only offensive coach for 2 years with the Saints. He was defensive coach, obviously a head coach with the Raiders for 2 years. But he made his fame and his fortune really in recent years as being that senior defensive assistant to the Saints in 2015, and then 6 years as the DC, working with Sean Payton, for example, at the Saints. So, not only does he have that defensive experience in terms of building a gritty, in-your-face defensive kind of monsters of Midway, bringing that back, that physical, fast, aggressive style of defense, but also he is kind of, I suppose, in a way, a little bit of a mentor, advisor to Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, obviously first-time head coach. Look, I've got no doubts in my mind that Ben Johnson can go on to be an absolutely amazing head coach, and we certainly hope he is, and he certainly hopes he breaks this cycle. This guy obviously is a top offensive mind, but Dennis Allen, I think, the fact that he was never really a massively successful head coach, but still has that head coaching experience and still has made mistakes. That he can use those to good effect to help improve the practice of Ben Johnson, to advise Ben, to be like a mentor to Ben Johnson at times. I think that is a key thing for me and a real positive for me. Having Dennis Allen on the staff, will really certainly help. But, it really does seem to me that the Bears have gone out and have really splashed and spent on this coaching staff to give these players the best possible opportunity to succeed. Now, yes, we've gone on and we've certainly built this offseason. We've built an offensive line with Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney to add to Darnell Wright, obviously. Ozzie Trapillo coming in the draft. We've obviously added to the offensive weapons of Colston Loveland, to add to Cole Kmet, to Roma Dunze, to DJ Moore, to D'Andre Swift, adding in, of course, Luther Burden. Caleb Williams obviously is still there. We're trying to give these young lads the best possible opportunity to succeed by surrounding them with the best possible teachers. And that's what the aim is, I think. And this NFL non-salary cap, I think, is spot on. And I think it's helped the Bears this year. And I think it will certainly give the Bears a very good opportunity to really kick on this season with this very, very good coaching staff. Guys, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please hit me up in the comments and let me know what you're thinking as regards the coaching staff of the Bears. Thank you for watching the Bears Huddle podcast. As always, on the way out, please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you've enjoyed the content. Remember, guys, always bear down.